All right, so for you guys today, I have my week 6 DST streaming options. This week, there's a few more options than normal. Again, at the very end, we'll highlight my 2 favorite options on the week. We are again doing decent enough in week 5. Wasn't my best week at streaming. There was some options that were a lot better. But then again, who's going to predict the Saints are going to get 5 turnovers against the Giants? I mean, I don't know, wild week, right? Especially for that Saints defense. But going into week 6, the first matchup that I'm looking at is the Indianapolis Colts, who are playing the Cardinals this week. If Kyler Murray does not play, this should be a smash spot, like a smash spot for the Colts in week 6. If Arizona is relying on the backup quarterback situation, this team is going to be super limited passing the football. We already know running the football, they're going to be somewhat limited as well because they don't have Trey Benson, they don't have James Conner. This team is starting to kind of fall apart on the offensive side of the football. The other big thing that we have to keep in the forefront of our minds is if Kyler Murray does play, how long does he play? And if he kind of gets through a couple quarters and then he gets subbed out with the backup and the game plan goes all haywire because he's not actually playing. And if he does end up playing, again, like those first couple of quarters or even the whole game, he's going to be somewhat hobbled. That does set it up where he's not going to be quite as mobile. This Colts defense is getting sacks in bunches. They are getting interceptions in bunches. They are getting pick sixes in bunches. They kind of remind me of a lighter version of the Vikings from 2024. The takeaways, the sacks, everything for the Colts. I love this matchup, especially if Kyler does not play in week 6. My second option is New England Patriots going up against the Saints. A big portion of the Saints offense is being able to get that ground game going with Alvin Kamara and Kendra Miller. The Patriots are not letting you run the football. We saw that again in week 5. Christian Gonzalez is back out there. He is a ball hawk. He's a great cover corner. It is going to set it up where they're probably going to take Chris Olave out of this football game. Shouldn't be that high scoring of a game either way. The Patriots aren't going to have to score a bunch of points. They right now, for the past 3 weeks, are the number 9 team as far as how many points they're allowing you to score. As a team, they are going to be in a smash spot going up against the Saints in week 6. The third option that I have, and again, these are in no particular order. I'll tell you my favorite 2 at the end. But the third option, and this is the spicy one. Unfortunately, my spicy picks have not really worked out. They haven't been negative plays, but they haven't been big burners at the DST spot. This would ironically be the week that I finally say that, and then they pop off. It is the Raiders who are going up against the Titans this week. Titans can't pass the football, can't run the football. They can't score points. They're not getting yards. That sets it up where the Raiders should be in a decent enough spot because if the Titans can't score, it shouldn't hurt them too much as far as points scored against them. They can't move the football, so it really shouldn't hurt them as far as yards against or yards allowed. The Raiders are not getting a lot of sacks. They're not getting a lot of turnovers, but Cam Ward is taking a lot of sacks. He is turning the football over. It's kind of one of those weird matchups. It's really, really spicy. If you can't find one of these other options out there, the Raiders is probably not the worst, especially with how bad the Titans have been playing. I can't say it's a smash spot like I normally want to. It's a spicy spot. So if you can't find a better matchup this week on the waiver wire or after the waiver wire clears for your DST spot, you could do a lot worse than the Raiders in week 6. Next option for you is the Cleveland Browns going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cleveland is letting you score some points, but again, some of that is based off of turnovers. They're not letting you move the football very effectively on the ground. They're not letting you pass all that effectively as well. This should set it up where the Browns are not letting the Pittsburgh Steelers run the football. Jalen Warren, if he ends up playing, should be kind of neutralized. Kenneth Gainwell is not good. Don't care what anybody tells you. Watch tape. Not good. That is going to take away the play action pass, which is what Aaron Rodgers this year has been living off of. So when that is gone, he's going to have to pass the ball against a middling secondary for the Browns at this point in time, but their pass rush is phenomenal. They're definitely getting sacks. They're not really getting takeaways though, so they're going to be sack numbers there. Aaron Rodgers, probably because of being under pressure, could put the ball in harm's way 1 time, 2 times. If that ends up happening, there is a chance they get an interception. There's a couple more points for your defense this coming week if you take up the Browns. In reality, when we get down to the brass tacks of this, it's going to be a low-scoring game. It's not going to be super dynamic. We're going to end up seeing Chris Boswell probably kick up a bajillion field goals, and that's probably how they'll win the game, 17-0 or 17-3 or 17-7. Really doesn't matter. It is one of those situations where if you can't find somebody else I'm going to talk about, you could do a lot worse than the Cleveland Browns in week 6. The next DST streaming option that you should consider this coming week is the Green Bay Packers, who are playing the Cincinnati Bengals. It doesn't matter if it's Jake Browning, doesn't matter if it's Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco takes sacks, throws interceptions. It is the same situation as Jake Browning, who is taking sacks, throwing interceptions. The Bengals are probably still not going to be able to score too much. If you were that worried about Joe Flacco popping off and being that guy. You could fade the Green Bay Packers this week and not pick them up. I think it is still a good matchup to consider, a potentially good matchup to exploit on the week. There is a real reality where Joe Flacco goes out there, takes a bunch of sacks, throws a couple of interceptions. The Packers are really good on defense. They're taking the football away. They're getting after the passer. They're also doing a good job at not letting you score a lot of points. They're not letting you move the football on the field very effectively. The Packers are pretty locked in on defense. I think this is a bounce back week for them, especially if we see Joe Flacco struggle in his first start with the Bengals, which I would guess that's what we're going to see in week 6. My last matchup to consider, and it's not necessarily like my favorite matchup, but it is one that I think is like worth paying attention to. It is Seattle going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to tell you right now, Seattle is not letting you score. They're letting you move the football on the field, but they are not letting you score, so that's going to help your DST for them this week. They are getting after the passer. They're getting sacks. They're getting interceptions. Like, they are literally taking the football away from teams and shutting them down and not letting them score points. We're seeing with Trevor Lawrence that he is allowing some sacks on himself throughout the season so far, so I do think that will continue against Seattle. If you watch the Monday Night Football game against the Chiefs, you should have realized, like, Trevor Lawrence is really not that good at throwing the football on the field. Like, he's really not efficient at it. Seattle is letting you pass the football a little bit easier. They are not letting you run the football. We saw in week 5 that when he was not able to have Travis Etienne, running for 80 yards, 100 yards, he did not look very good. They could not get the play action game going. I said this going into the week, it was going to limit Trevor Lawrence. That's exactly what we saw. We're going to see almost the exact same thing by my estimation in week 6 between the Seahawks and the Jags. I do think that Seattle is a good play in week 6. Okay, so my favorite 2 matchups on the week is the following. Number 1, it is the Colts going up against the Cardinals. Whether Kyler Murray plays, doesn't play, is going to be a smash spot. The Colts are going to sack him, sack the backup. They are going to have a limited Kyler Murray or no Kyler Murray at all. This team is going to end up being super, super limited, super, super hampered. It is not going to be a great matchup for the Cardinals in week 6. It should be a smash spot for the Colts in week 6 to be like probably the best DST option on the week. My last 2, and normally I only do 2, but I'm going to do 3 this time because it's like pick your poison right here. The second one is the Patriots, who are going up against the Saints. I think you're going to see the Saints get shut down. They're not going to be able to run the football, not going to be able to pass the football. They're not going to be able to score a lot of points. The Patriots should be pretty set up to smash in week 6. If you're not comfortable with them, then you can flip-flop to the next defense. And if you're not comfortable with the other defense, and flip-flop to the Patriots or the Colts or somebody else on the list if you like somebody else I've talked about so far. My third option that's kind of tied with the Patriots is the Green Bay Packers. If you are really worried that Joe Flacco is going to go ball out, then pick up the Colts, pick up the Patriots, and run with one of those 2 and feel confident in week 6. But if you think that Joe Flacco is going to suck, that they're going to be limited, that he's going to turn the ball over and take sacks, and the Packers are going to get back to playing good defense like they did the first handful of weeks, I do think it is a great matchup to stream this week. I do like it. Technically, it's my second favorite, but if you were worried about Joe Flacco, go with the Patriots, go with the Colts, smash on one of those other 2 options. But those are my top 2/top 3, I guess, on the week for DST streaming in week 6. Hopefully this video helps you get just a little bit closer to winning your fantasy football championship in 2025. I know by the time you watch this video, unfortunately, the waiver wire is already probably passed. I'm sorry about that, but I had the video posted before it passed. So if you are looking for players to pick up who are viable or potentially viable in the back half of the season when the waiver wire is pretty picked clean, especially for deeper leagues, I'm at the point in time where waivers are pretty much getting bone dry. So I am trying to focus more on high upside guys for deeper leagues, specifically 10-man, 12-man leagues. So if you are in a 10-man, 12-man, larger league, deeper league, go check out that video, see if somebody on there is still available. If they are, I think all the people I talked about, depending on what position you need right now, are worth stashing on your bench, seeing how they look in week 6 and week 7, and hopefully we can find somebody together who's going to be viable to pick up, stash, and has the potential to pop off later on in the season and help you win your fantasy football championship in 2025. Hopefully I'll see you guys again. No, hopefully you guys will see me again real soon. And until then, y'all have a blessed day. Bye.